everybody, it's Gabriel with Automation Anywhere. Today I'm here with Keith Nelson, our head of industry marketing for the public sector. Keith, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Gabriel.
It's good to have you. Keith, tell me a little bit about your role here at Automation Anywhere.
Absolutely. I am overseeing the industry marketing for the global public sector, which means U.S. federal government, U.S. state and local government, higher education, and international governments, as well as nonprofits. We look at marketing and really try to translate what Automation Anywhere's products can do to help that sector.
Give me an example of some of the solutions for the sector.
Well, I come from the federal government. Up until about a year ago, I was working at the U.S. Department of Transportation. I worked there in the CFO office, the HR office, and the research and development unit. And I kept seeing so many places where a lot of people were doing manual activities that really could have been done with technology. And I see a lot of places where basically Automation Anywhere's bots could do the work more efficiently and with less errors than the people. And when I talk to some of my ex-colleagues about automating their positions or their work, they thought, well, are the bots going to take my jobs? And I started explaining what the bots were there to replace, and they started perking up. They said, oh, well, I don't like cutting and pasting. I didn't get hired to take one data set from one system and plug it into another, but I spent a lot of hours doing that kind of thing. I've never gotten a promotion based on it. My bosses don't really know that I do that for part of my day. I'd love to automate that and actually have more time to think, analyze, and do more substantive work. I said, that's really what the game is.
So it sounds like they started to get it, right? I think that initial fear is a fear amongst many when first encountering the idea of automation, but quickly they realize that really the bots, the software bots and automation are there to reduce the work tax, right? Those things that we have to do, we don't necessarily like to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the U.S. federal has come out with basically a technology strategy for the entire government called the President's Management Agenda. And each president has their own. And this most recent President's Management Agenda actually singled out an area where they said, we're trying to move the federal employees from low value work to high value work. Some of us kind of scratched our heads, said, what does that mean? It means exactly that. Put the bots and put the automations in place to do that basic repetitive grunt work tasks and let the people free up those hours to use their mind. Basically, they got hired in many cases with higher education degrees to do very specialty work. And the more they spend time with their PhD, searching the web over and over again or cutting and pasting data, they're not really using their skill sets.
Sure. And tell me a little bit about some of the specific use cases or applications that you're seeing in the sector, some of the places that we've helped in your tenure so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it because in a very dramatic way, I mean, the COVID-19 crisis is really shifting government into overdrive in a lot of areas, and particularly in the health area. A bunch of my colleagues at HHS and other types of health organizations, FEMA, DHS, they're all working so hard to try to help America just keep on its feet. And the more automations I've seen, and we are doing a lot of automation work in the health arena, it's really helping those government agencies are much better prepared for the incoming volume and the extra work that's being done. They can somewhat keep up with these massive influx of applications and forms and public needs that's coming at the government in all directions. I'm seeing automations really coming to in those areas.
And so in terms of the, continuing along the in the current climate, um, what does the day look like for some of your colleagues and former peers within the government agencies? Um, what specifically are they dealing with in terms of remote work and other issues that automation might be able to help?
Yeah, remote work is the key. Generally speaking, the government atmosphere is everybody's working in one of these giant buildings in downtown DC, working together, working in teams. It's a pretty collaborative culture. And so for the entire workforce, or 99.9% of the workforce, to be working from home and trying to get the work done and getting more work done, because there's greater needs and new needs that government wasn't handling before with this pandemic. Uh, they're really learning a brand new culture, um, and some of the people I've heard of are talking about they've never teleworked before. They're not really sure how to do it. They're trying to build their day in, and they have the most fundamental basic questions, like what is Microsoft Teams? What are some of these systems? How do I log on? And I know they're calling their IT help desk and burdening these guys with the most basic inquiries about how do I log on, what's my password, that kind of thing. And we're trying to automate some of those simple, basic self-help type questions like logging on, password, and that kind of thing. In many cases, we can use bots to address some of those basic questions. Let people get on with their day and have the actual IT helpers focused on more complex issues that really need a human touch.
So it sounds like there's a number of, and I've had a few conversations now with various stakeholders with Automation Anywhere and externally as well. And it sounds like certainly we want to solve the big problem, and try to attack that leveraging automation. But there's all these little problems or challenges as well that maybe we hadn't thought of, or but people in the workforce hadn't thought of: the remote working, the IT support, all these things, some baselines. But really, those are sort of all these pebbles when they're summed up, they become a huge issue in time suck, right?
Yeah, and look, I feel a real kinship. I mean, I was in government for 18 years. I really feel a kinship still with government staff. They're doing public service. They're not really in it for the money. They're in it for the mission. And a situation like COVID-19 kind of uh, all eyes are on the government to kind of help us out, help us through economically, help us through health wise, just help us see the light at the end of the tunnel. And my heart goes out to those folks in government and the folks on the front lines. Think about the law enforcement. Think about the fire department. Think about people that can't work from home. They have to be out there. They have to be dealing with the public. They have to be putting their health at risk, possibly carrying an infection back to their family. That's a really risky scenario. I really don't want them to have to waste time on paperwork and red tape unless they really absolutely have to. And I'm seeing that in many cases, automation can help those people, focus on the mission that they're there to provide, to do the real substantive, hands-on work that needs their expertise, and let the bots handle the paperwork, the reporting, the expense tracking, all those kind of minutia that just eat away at the hours and burden people beyond any reason that they should be.
And in the current situation, right? And I know we're talking sort of about U.S. centric, but I think that this premise and these use cases and the idea of being able to protect frontline workers, expedite the mundane so that they can focus on the things that matter, including keeping themselves safe. Um, that's applicable across the globe.
It's applicable across the globe, and it's not. It doesn't take long. I mean, if I was on the government side and a technology company approached me and said, "Hey, we can help you with COVID-19," my first question would be, "How fast can you do it?" Because this is not. It doesn't make any sense to focus on something that would take a long time, months to a year to put out there, like some IT projects cost. This is something that we've done in a week. We built Paycheck Protection bots to help banks process the Small Business Administration loans. We built that inside of a week. It's actually in use by banks to apply for those SBA loans today. We built an interactive map that let the public in Macau, China, kind of check out where masks were available, what the banking hours were, where the infection rates were, what's open, what's closed. All that could be done in a week. And that, it really reduced the call volumes, because without that map, people would just be calling and saying, is this open? Do you have the masks and the hand sanitizers and other stuff I'm looking for? No, now it really cuts down on that call volume and lets those more substantive, complex calls be addressed by the humans, and automates the rest.
What do you think? What do you think the other side of this looks like with regards to the public sector?
I mean, I think we're going to see, when people get back to a more of a normal state, I think they're going to really realize there's the haves and the have-nots. The sectors of government that were already automated, that were kind of running more efficiently before COVID-19 came and turned everything upside down, they're going to be looking back and saying, wow, I remember before we had these bots in place, and I saw what happened with them, and boy, am I grateful that we had that. It's the only way we kind of kept up. And then the other side of it is groups, and they're saying it to me now, boy, I wish I had a technological answer to this, because we are snowed under. We are buried, and we cannot keep up. And you're going to see a lot of people saying, I think it's really important that we modernize, we automate, and we don't get into this situation next time.
So you told me about the Paycheck Protection program. I'm aware and have heard of some other use cases around the globe with similar sort of parameters with government assistance for small business and individuals. And so those are really interesting and compelling. And I know that our teams are building bots at a ridiculous pace to solve some of these problems, so that people can just, fundamentally just survive, right? So let alone not have to do a mundane task. I mean, this is about survival, right?
Yeah, this isn't, yeah, you're right, Gabriel. It's not about just automating a step in a process that saves you a little time in accounting. This is really critical. I mean, I see, look, do we have all of the health departments filing all of the COVID-19 cases every day accurately? No, we don't. And that's because they're so overwhelmed in certain cities and counties that they really don't have time to file those reports. And we've built a bot for the World Health Organization to file those reports, so that it's a lot easier. So you can automate most of that work, so that people can actually get the up-to-date, correct information to the groups that are trying to collect it, study it, identify trends from it, right? If you don't have the World Health Organization or the Centers for Disease Control with the right data, they're not going to be able to really know exactly what's going on out there. And you're at risk of missing something without that data. So we're interacting this stuff, and we're automating these things to help save people's lives.
Okay, thanks for sharing, your take and your experience during this time. And, with regards to some of the use cases we talked about and the technologies being built, if I'm a government agency or a member of a government agency, and I need this help, I want this help, how do I get it? And how quickly can I get it?
Well, you can, we're on the various contracting vehicles. We work with, you name it, a variety of partners. We can get there pretty quickly. So feel free to reach out to me, reach out to automationanywhere.com. We will demo this. We will show you what we've done. We will talk you through what we've done in other agencies. We can get this done very quickly. Look, when it comes to COVID-19, you got to think how big of a benefit can this help my work right now? And I think you'll find out it can help considerably. And number two, how fast can we do it? And we can really build these things inside of a week and hook it into your system and have this operational in a way to make a difference now. And so let me know, let us know, and we'll come talk to you and we'll work through this.
That's fantastic. And I know you're active on LinkedIn, so people can contact you there. Of course, we can email or contact anybody here at Automation Anywhere, and specifically even any of our social channels. I'm happy to pass the word along if any of you want to reach out that way. Keith, thanks so much again. Appreciate you joining us, and keep up the good work.
Thanks, Gabe. Take care.